God damn, it's about time. You know, you take a look at nothing. No offense to any fight that they've put in. They've put in some good fights. This is the fight, Josh. This should have been, Dana's favorite fight has always been the Frank Trigg versus Matt Hughes second fight. And you look at it, it's like, why? Because Matt got kneed in the nuts and was crumpling over, and Yamasaki didn't do anything about it. So he let Frank get a free run at him. And yeah, he picked him up and turned it around and he won. It was great. It was not that fight.
That's his favorite fight.
Yeah, that's his favorite fight. I swear to God, it is. I'm
Shut
not kidding.
Your mouth.
We've talked about it. I swear. He said that's his favorite fight. Yeah, but this fight, I will tell you, I was lucky enough to be in there with those guys. Those guys left parts of themselves in that cage forever, and just, I mean, the guts that went into that, the heart and the pain that those guys were in at times. And there's a video that is out. It's one of my favorite moments. And I've known Robbie since he was 18 years old, and I refereed Robbie too many times, and between that fourth and fifth, when the fourth round stopped, there was that famous. They were kind of mad dogging each other, and I knew that Robbie was back there, but I was so concerned with getting Rory back to his corner so the cut man could work on him and help stop some of the damage that he was having. That that's how that whole thing happened. And then so I turned around from that as soon as I got Robbie to go back, and Rory to go back, and Robbie was, now in his corner. I go over, I'm just looking to make sure, seeing what he's got. And he's got the cut on his lip, it's cut all the way through. He's got that big old gash. It's about 3 inches long on his top of his head. And I just look at him and said, "How you feeling, Robbie?" "I feel fucking great, John. I'm having a fucking blast." Right? And I was like, okay. And I just love that moment. I love that moment and the way that he reacted, because that was his moment. That was the greatest fight he ever fought.
My relationship with Robbie goes back to he fought Landon Showalter. I think it was in
yeah.
And that was
a long time ago.
I was watching him warm up in the back, and I'm like, this kid's fighting in Hawaiian shorts with like a little bit of an afro that was kind of curly.
Yeah, he had a little fro.
And shit, he starched him in like 19 seconds. Yeah. It was nasty. And I was like, holy shit, who is this kid? And literally,
that's
like,
Super Brawl.
What?
Was it in Super Brawl?
No, it was somewhere. I think it was at like Calusa, or it was at a small casino up that way. And after that fight, a couple months back, we ended up being on the same card. It was probably like almost a whole year removed. We were on the same card in Hawaii for Shogun. And then that's when Dana came out and scouted all of us. We all kind of got recruited off of that fight. But he was something that we just kind of kept an eye on him the whole time. His Aaron Riley fight, historic, they matched him up with the right person for his first fight. He was a dog. He just came in like just big power. He had some issues. He just did, like, and when you talk to Pat, you talk to everyone else. I mean, he was going through, I don't know what he was going through. I can't speak on it, to be honest. I can't. But he had a resurgence. He left, went to Pride, then went to Strike Force, and he legit just, during that process, found that like, hey, this is my chance. After the UFC bought them, I'm here. Like, he's had success in Strike Force. He was having success in other organizations. And they had kind of, the UFC had given up on him. He seemed like he was lost. Him to get back there and become who he was, and to remind the world that like, hey, I got this. I got this in my back pocket. I can do it whenever I want. I just got to turn it on. Like, holy shit, where's this Robbie been? And he was fantastic in Strike Force. Fantastic. His fight with Melvin Manoff.
Oh, he's getting eaten up.
I never wanted to be kicked like that ever. I never wanted to be kicked like that. And just to see the boom, done. Lights out, touched on the chin, over. Holy shit. Just to see someone take that amount of damage to the inside leg, outside leg, all around. And never, ever did he think like, I'm done. No, he just slowly stalked after you. Boom, threw the big shot, landed clean. Melvin Manoff out. And then when he got to the UFC, it was a whole different, and that was at 85. Then I think there was a conversation, from what I understand, there was a conversation between him and Dana, is that, hey, you're coming back. We want you back. You've got to fight at 70. He made the change, and look where his career went. Fantastic. Fantastic. And this fight, absolutely one of the greatest fights ever in UFC history. Hands down, no doubt.
But again, the thing, like you're saying, it takes two.
Yeah.
And it took a guy as tough as Rory MacDonald, a guy that had fought Robbie, if you recall, and lost to Robbie and was crushed that he lost him, didn't think that he did. And so this was a rematch. And then this one was for the title, since Robbie was now the champion. And you looked, and it takes two, because Rory MacDonald, his nose was broken in that first round. He was what we call aspirating blood throughout the fight. And when I say aspirating, that means that he's breathing in because he can't breathe through his nose, so he's breathing in through his mouth. So the blood that's dripping down the back of his throat from his broken nose is being sucked into his lungs, and it's creating a problem for him as far as that oxygen being, put through his body the right way. And that's why you can see, and Rogan will talk about, he was turning gray. That's because there was not that oxygen transfer. That's what I was so concerned with during the fight, watching him, because I could see what was happening to him. And he never stopped. He never, ever. And he was winning the fight. I'm just being honest. He was winning the fight. I know on the judges' scorecards, they had him winning the fight. Robbie needed to do what he did, and he did it, man. And that's what made it just incredible.
Well, when you take fights like this, though, John, and neither one of these fighters were ever the same after this fight.
Nope.
And when people say, like, oh, they left a piece of them in there. No, they left a lot of them, a lot of themselves in that. For who? For the fans, for themselves, for, basically like for the promotion, for everything. They went out there and laid it all on the line and
gave everything they had.
Like, I can't say enough about those fights and those fighters, because you know how hard it is to bury your ego and just be like, you know what? Fuck it. Let's just go. Let's just do it and see what happens. And it takes a lot for anyone to just be like, throw caution to the wind and let's just see what happens. Like, too much pride, too much ego gets involved. And that's the sad part, is that there's epic fights like this that could happen, but someone's ego gets in the way and you never really get to see it. I mean, they left a lot of themselves in that cage that night, and all I can say is thank you.
100% agree.